Hey everybody, welcome to Chatterbox, and we're on our third series of how to reclaim your narrative now. And it's January the 17th, and what we're doing is we're talking about just how to reclaim your narrative. How many of you ever been judged before, and you've been put in like a situation where as though you have to constantly repeat yourself? I mean, like you feel like every time you turn around, you're repeating yourself, but you're repeating yourself in a way where you're trying to protect yourself, or you're trying to protect certain boundaries and things of that nature. Well, that's what this particular series is about. It's about how to reclaim the narrative of this type of situation. And first, I want to say is that most people think that reclaiming your narrative means telling your side louder, but it really doesn't. It means deciding who gets access to your story and who doesn't. Um, when you say who get access to your story and who doesn't, you have to you're constantly like explaining the trauma, right, as a response. And when you are explaining the trauma as a response, it's a response to different types of narratives of how you may constantly feel. So you're not really like explaining the story because you're trying to, at least I wasn't. I'm not trying to explain the story as if I'm trying to get empathy or sympathy for it, but explaining the story as a response as to how a person may feel about the situation. Because, when you first come encounter with somebody, you don't really know exactly what it is or how they feel or what motive they have for asking you, what your story was about. And which is extremely something to think about because some people are just out crazy. They want to put you in a spot, so to say. You know what I mean? So you got to be careful on how you explain yourself because explaining feels productive, but most explanations are actually trauma responses. And that's trying kind of like what I'm trying to say. So I have learned that no response is a response to this type of situation because you don't have to explain, right, to be understood. You don't have to explain to reduce anxiety. And a lot of times we feel like we do have to explain to reduce anxiety, or we're explaining to um, just feel like we're like explaining in a way where as though we are trying to overcompensate for a feeling that we might have with inside ourselves of what a person might be actually saying about or feeling about the situation. Um, Ownership versus reaction. Reclaiming your narrative starts when you stop reacting to versions of yourself if you no longer recognize. So, you know, I no longer recognize the situation that happened to me. I had moved past it. So I stopped responding to from defense. You explained the shift, but it's from a shift. I mean, from a defensive kind of way. I stopped explaining from a defensive direction, from response. Which is really important, from response intentions and from correction clarity, just to get clarity. Sometimes, we're explaining ourselves because we want to feel like, we want clarity for the situation. We explain it, because we want the truth to come out, or we explain it because we just like I said, we don't know what a person's feelings might be concerning situations or how they might be thinking or what's their ulterior motive of asking you. And a lot of us have been in situations where it's though we have been in a situation, and then we're constantly being judged for that situation. So we're constantly like, oh, okay, when someone asks us the question, whether you were right or you were wrong, something that happened in your past is in your past, and by rights, you shouldn't have to keep explaining yourself over and over again. But in my situation, this was a public situation, and I have no control over how it was recorded or how it was played out. And I also don't have any control over the feelings or the implications that they gave others about the situation. I had no control over that because if I could have changed the narrative, then I probably would have. I would have changed the narrative. You guys from previous shows, from this particular series, you already know what my opinion is. So I probably would have changed the narrative. But since I have no control, you got a lot of like crazy people out here, and they'll come up and go, "You was on Judge Judy, or you was the guy that this, or you was the guy that that." And then, you build up this defense because you're like, okay, who's around, who's looking, what's getting ready to go down, what type of situation am I getting ready to go into? Because it could be in a public situation, it could be, you could be waiting at a doctor's office, you could be at a subway station, you could be anywhere, and you get the response that you're really not looking forward to. Um, I'm a thinker, right? So I don't chase narratives, and when I say I don't chase narratives, I don't like um, constantly look at people's situations and stuff, and I um, patty back off of it, or I like to just keep negative stuff on my mouth about that particular person based on what I read or I hear about them. I'm not the type of person where as though I will constantly be strolling on the internet, looking at people's business, or situations that's going on in their personal lives. And because they're showcased on TV, right? They're showcased on TV, everything that they do, people are looking to judge them. Well, I don't chase narratives. I'm not the type of person who runs around and, gossip about what she said, he said, and they said, because a lot of times it don't have nothing to do with me, and it's not making me or breaking me to know that information. And I want to know uh how is it that it helps you to be able to constantly repeat some narrative that you heard about somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially if it's a negative narrative. I know when things are fresh, and they're fresh in the air, and a lot of times, people hear it for the first time. It may be the topic of discussion because you may have a celebrity or somebody that's like that um, they tell their story. They're on TV to tell their story. And for instance, my friend Rashida, um, you know, her situation with her son, that's something that I don't think that that's like it. People if people look at that type of situation and they just kind of like blow it up in the air and stuff. And if you really don't know the actual truth, trust me, the media, TV, they change the narratives constantly all the time. And they constantly all the time they change the narrative. I just feel like you have to try to um, think outside the box when you hear certain things. When you go about repeating something that you heard and you're not really sure about whether or not it's true, but you've read it, it's not good to put that narrative out there that you think might be true. Todd and Candy Barris, they're divorcing what they're going on. It's so many different narratives that are out there. I'm almost like I'm heartbroken for her and also for him because I knew them personally, and I knew them their love. at one time. I knew that they were really in love. I've been in their company and stuff, and I realized I've been around their family. I've been to their events, and I know that they're really, really great people. And that one thing that they do care about is their kids, and they are family oriented people. So for people to put narratives out about them and what they're going through. And I know that they're in the public's eye. So when we get certain things about them, it's mind blowing. But then at the same time, we have to be careful what it is that we're repeating about people. Like, for instance, I seen something saying that they were, they're going back and forth and they're battling, and or someone seeing Candy sitting in the car with her mom, and Mrs. Joyce is nothing like they're really trying to say that she is. I know Miss Joyce, so eh, I don't think that regardless of what she was concerned with about her daughter's welfare, she still at the same time she cared about her daughter. She cares about her daughter's happiness, and she wasn't all the time trying to sabotage her daughter and so she can get a divorce, because once her daughter made the decision that that's what she want to do, and she values her daughter's opinion because it's her opinion that got her to where she is today, you see. So the narrative, the public tries to put out, or the press tries to put out, is totally wrong. So a lot of times you have to be able to change the narrative. You have to change your direction over defense when you are in a situation such as what I've gone through. Okay. And the power move, here's the real power move that nobody teaches you, is you don't correct the story. You know what I'm saying? You outgrow it. And, you know, that is something, oh my God, you guys, if you could just really understand what I mean when they say you do not correct the story, you outgrow the story. And it's always time that you just have to wait for this story to pass. This too shall pass. You don't always owe an explanation to anybody about what you are going on in your personal life. And and if it's a negative situation, let me tell you something. Come on. We all should celebrate somebody's wins. And as African Americans, I'm just merely saying that it's not a lot of us that are celebrated for our wins, and we need each other to celebrate each other's wins. There's so much negativity that's going out there in the world. We don't need to spread negative things about ourselves. Look at what they did to O.J. Simpson. Look at what they did to Michael Jackson. Look at what they did to come on, just name. You can name them. Everybody that was iconish, or somebody that was doing something positive, for our people, to make us set a different motive, or a different outlook, or a different pattern, or a different course for how people look at us. They have sabotaged, you see, and they look for something, a negative narrative, and they break them down. They're constantly out there breaking them down. And that's what the press does to people that are, trying to outgrow it. They're trying to outgrow it. Everybody makes mistakes in life. I'm just going to say that first and foremost, because we all do. We all make mistakes. Come on. Have you ever lived a life without mistakes? And if you have, you a saint or an angel? And I don't think there's no saints or no angels out here, nowhere. I think each and every person that's on the face of this earth, besides an infant that's new to this world, okay, innocent, pure, has a life, goes through this life without doing something or subjected to something that they have to outgrow, or they learn from, but they have to outgrow the people, the way the others see it, or the way they're being judged by it. That's life. That is life. Um, Reclaiming, you have to decide what version of you is expired. You got to decide that. That's not something that people are able to decide. People are not able to decide what version of you is expired. People are not able to control the boundaries. Um, you have to control it. You have to control the boundaries, and you have to control the silence. You have to decide that. No one else is going to decide that for you. You know what I mean? No one else will. Stop answering the questions from the past. I don't feel like I owe anyone an explanation. you know, I was on Judge Judy, and it gave me recognition. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not. I'm going to stop answering questions about it and stuff. And that was one of the reasons why I wanted to do this particular series, because this series helped me to be able to address the situation, because this wasn't something that I was happy about. I really wasn't happy about, because I know my sexual preference is on a need to know basis. I know my personal marriage life or whatever is on a need to know basis. I know the way I live or my life period is on a need to know basis. And I've learned that as I've gotten older. So some of the mistakes that I've made growing up, you see, they helped me to evolve and become the person that I am today. You know, I am invested energy where you're building, not repairing. You see what I'm saying? Energy to uh, be successful. I don't answer from there no more. You know what I'm saying? My energy goes forward. It doesn't go backward. It's it's plummeting into a new altitude of my life. I am starting to grow into who God made me become. You know what I'm saying? And that's a man of God, and that's a man that has a heart, and that's a man that considers others, and that's a man that can come to terms and say that he's sorry when he makes a mistake. That's what I've grown into. But I am not the narrative that people try to put out about me, you know. And reclaiming your narrative isn't loud, it's consistent. It's extremely consistent. And, when I say it's consistent, listen, guys, you don't correct the story, you outgrow it. You see what I'm saying? Consistency is louder than defense. So I don't have to say anything, I just have to do it. Let my actions prove that I'm different. My actions are more than anything. And to anybody that's out there that can relate to what it is that I'm saying, you don't owe no explanation to nobody. And especially if you are the type of person that you are in the press. Like you are in the entertainment industry. You are in an industry where the power of your tongue matters, because God has put you on a pedestal, right? So that you may be able to help others, so that what you say can influence a person in a positive way. So, if because you're in that pedestal, or God puts you in that place, which is a gift, and you should be grateful and thankful, you are just going to have people who come up with their own narrative of who you are, what you are, or what you should be, or what you could be, or what you ain't. And it has a lot to do with what they're not, you know? And that your position in life is to influence, to change the world. Some of us, sorry, we're here to make a difference in society. And I know for a fact that this platform is to make a difference in society. And so I'm going to have a few people who just say, well, I knew him before. Well, I knew this. Or they're going to have something negative to say, just like the ones that don't like my podcast, or they don't have, they don't like any of my marketing. They just don't, people are outside looking in, but they will not give you a voice. They don't want to see you grow. But I want to just put something out there for you. This is real talk. If you're the type of person that you hate on everything that you see because you're not able, why don't you learn from that individual? Why don't you, first off, you're where you are right now because of the type of person that you are. Yeah, it's true. You're right where you are because of the type of person you are. Because when you speak life or you put life in individual, do you know what is returned back to you? And I am a living witness that because I love so hard with people and I care about people's perception of me or what they think of me, and that part I did at one time. You know what I mean? Um, but I care about people. I care about people's welfare. I care about how we are moving along in this world because this world is a cold place. It is not nice. So I care about people. And so I've developed this platform so that I could just have a voice and bring people together to be able to talk and converse. But I haven't gotten to that point yet because there are a lot of people who I guess they don't believe in what I believe in. But that doesn't stop me from doing what I do or doing what God wants me to do. You know why? Because He is the answer to everything, not man. And I know that I will go where He wants me to go, not man. So I will continue to do what I do. Now, what we at 22 minutes and 43 seconds, and we're almost at the hour. And before leaving, I just want to say one thing is I hope that everybody went to the Free Business AI Summit. I hope you got a lot of jewels. I hope you listened to me and that you clicked in on that particular summit. It was online, it was free. They gave out so many nuggets for the last 2 days. I'm hoping that you did take advantage of that. And I'm looking for a thank you, okay, just for the introduction for that, because I got like, I think 47 people who clicked and just to see what that was about. So I'm hoping that they were able to find out what that was about. Next week, we're going to be exploring a new chapter of When to Stop Explaining Yourself. That chapter, we're going to complete, you know what I'm saying, this whole thing with the Judge Judy and being judge situation. That's on January 24th, 2026. And I pray that everybody tunes into that one. And what else I want to tell you guys? That's the final step that, just, come on. Explaining myself all together. I'm not going to be doing that anymore. That's going to be something that is like totally done. You know what I mean? I'm going to be moving on and to a whole new subject. And then if you have any ideas of what next month's series should be about, feel free just to like cling in, check in, send me an email. You all get my email. You all kind of know, like, I put all my information up again. What else I want to tell you guys? Oh, I know the most important thing. Hey, subscribe and like to my channel. Okay. I'm on YouTube. You guys know that already because you're here. But so we're also on Spotify. There's my business email and my telephone number if you ever feel like you need to call and talk to me direct. Stay update, drop your thoughts, and join the conversation on my social media website. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and TikTok. You know what I mean? I am on all of the social media platforms. And I hope you guys enjoy my marketing. Listen, AI has been amazing for me. I've been able to do a lot of creating and everything. You know what I mean? I know that man that's up there don't look as good as I do, but you know what I'm saying? It's me. And I just want to say, you guys, if I can come up with a topic or speak on anything that you guys feel needs to be speak on, please reach out and tell me. I just want to say that, I really honestly, from the bottom of my heart, really enjoy the fact that you guys do tune in and, check out Chatterbox. I hope Chatterbox is starting to grow on you. I hope the subject matter that I come up with is going to be nice. Again, please visit me next week when, again, we talk about the narrative of when to stop explaining yourself. That's going to be like really, 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 really a good show. That's the last show, and I'm going to do a deep dive. Okay. Oh, another thing I wanted to say to you guys, how are you guys enjoying my cooking aspect? I started dropping some gems. I'm a culinary chef. I went to school, I got a degree. I worked with Wolfgang Puck at one particular time, but I enjoy cooking. I enjoy entertaining and having people come around and just watching people eat my food. I swear I'm gonna be dropping some more jewels as far as food preparation and how to make little different things from family meals. I always want to create something that's affordable for people that you can incorporate in your daily lives for your family if you got kids or a husband or something like that. Even some entertainment stuff. Sometimes, I'll go as far as making some salmon and salmon mousse with some caviar and some baguettes that toasty. Oh, I'll come up with some kind of creative ideas or some things that I feel like would help you guys. But again, if there's something that you want to see me cook, you can always, ask me. Culinary arts, oh my God, if you guys just know, it's a passion of mine. And anybody in my family, my friends that's close to me that had the opportunity to eat my food, they'll tell you that boy loves to cook. You know what I mean? And hold on just a second, I gotta get some. Ooh, gotta have my iced tea. Listen, I love to cook. Cooking is the way to a person's heart. And when you cook with love, oh, y'all just don't know what you get when you cook with love. And I'm a cooker with love. I love to entertain. If you ever get an opportunity to come to a gathering or something that I'm presenting or doing, you'll see my meatballs, my chicken. I cook chicken in many different ways. If you are a mother or father and you have kids and you need an easy recipe or something, anything, just call me or drop me an email. I promise you, I will reach out to you. I will reach out to your families because I believe that nutrition is so important. And when you start getting old, what you feed a person is important. A lot of these kids that going out and their family are feeding the McDonald's and Burger King, and all of that stuff has preservatives in it. And that's where all our cancers are coming from. That's where all our health situations, diabetes are coming from, especially with African Americans and stuff. We overcook our greens. We cook the chlorophyll out of our vegetables. We overcook our vegetables. We do so many different things that are wrong. You know what I mean? And we don't realize that we are doing it wrong. So I want to give you the tips. I want to help you. I'm here. I'm here. And I'm a hair artist. I'll go into some of it. I'll be dropping some gems about that as well. But basically, thank you so much for joining Chatterbox. I appreciate you all being here. And guess what? I'll see you next week. Bye.